Welcome back, everybody. We are outside in the garden here, taking a look at tomato plants. Dave, the garden guy here. We're going to start on tomato plants. You're saying now is the time, or should we still wait to put them in the ground?
It's a little bit of a gamble. So if you're kind of a gambler out there right now, it's starting to be the time to do it. Now, we talked about tomatoes. In fact, well, you're getting ready to plant some yourself.
I've got mine. They've got the starter plants. You can find them just about all the nurseries.
You betcha. And the three that you planted were Pearsons, Celebrities, and Cherry.
Well, I haven't planted them.
Oh, you haven't planted them?
Because I wasn't sure yet.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. What you want to do is just go ahead and pick as large a plant as possible. So this is a fairly large one. This is a Pearson. So this is something that's been sold in the stores out here all throughout the valley right now. Now, what you want to do is you want to find this south-facing wall, and preferably one against your home, because that acts as a thermal mass. So if we just take a south-facing wall, plant it right against the wall, you know how you have that eave and then you've got the fascia board in front of that? As that sun's going up, it's going to give it a lot more shade. I know it sounds counterintuitive, and that shade is really going to help out with eventually keeping this guy a little bit cooler. But right now we want it a little bit warmer, so all that reflective heat that's going into that tomato is really going to help this guy starting to bloom and produce or push out fruit. And it's very important because of the fact that once we get temperatures below 55 degrees at night, and we're just starting to get up there, but that south-facing wall holds a lot of heat, so you're possibly going to go ahead and start forming fruit right now, as long as we don't get one thing, and that's cold temperatures or possibly frost. So like I said, you may have to protect them.
Yeah, because you can have flowers on this one.
You betcha. In fact, they're starting to push right now. We'll see if they'll form. What they'll do normally, if it gets too cool, they'll just go ahead and drop. So you want to go ahead and do it. Now, let me show you a couple little tricks of the trade. One of them are right over there.
Mind your way?
Yeah, that's okay. But one of the things you want to add in here is a little bit of cornmeal. In fact, cornmeal helps prevent a lot of different types of diseases. And what it does is it acts as basically a fungal type fighter. So I add about a handful of cornmeal into the soil itself. And this goes a long ways towards really producing nice tomatoes. The other thing I'll do is I'll do a teaspoon or two of Epsom salts, and that will also keep the tomato more upright. We like our tomatoes upright because we want the fruit formed underneath the bushiness of the tomato itself. In fact, the more it forms out back in this area, the better off you're going to be. And that means back in the plant itself. So you want a nice, bushy type of tomato, and that's the ideal situation. And then, of course, regular fertilization is crucial to really forming a lot of tomatoes. So something like extreme juice or liquid seaweed or even some type of tomato blend will go a long ways. This has got mycorrhizae, and this is very important. Now, mycorrhizae is a different type of fungal kind of activity that takes place in soil, and it helps convert a lot of that fertilizer into a usable form, especially around the tomatoes. So by inducing it, you're going to go a long ways towards really pushing out a lot of growth, and that growth is going to go ahead and start protecting that tomato.
Now, you talk a lot about the Pearson. Why the Pearson versus some of the other tomatoes? Because when you walk into some of those nurseries, to even the Home Depots, there's like 10 different varieties.
There is. You want short season varieties tomatoes, early girls, Pearsons, Celebrities, your cherry tomatoes. Any of your smaller forming tomatoes seem to do much better out there than your larger. Now, my dad grows Pearsons, and he's grown them for years, and he's done fantastic with them. He's probably one of the best tomato growers I know out there. So when you're thinking about different types of varieties, you can go ahead and experiment with that, but a lot of these varieties have been specific to grown in real northern climes and southern climes. Reason being is because they form very quickly. 90 days is usually the formation of full fruit, and that's the ideal situation because our seasons are very short out here in the desert Southwest. So we can go from right now, in March, we could be in 100 degrees. Well, as soon as we get in 100 degrees, boom, tomatoes stop producing any type of fruit.
Okay, all right.